Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. To my right is Clive. Mitch will be along shortly. Clive, we look like we're signing a player.
I know.
Are
I did
you
say,
ready? Are you ready for it, Clive? Are you ready? What are you saying?
I mean, I'm excited that we're actually signing someone finally. And I've said to you, I think last time I was on was about a week ago, and I said to you, we need to sign at least two or three players before we get to the last two preseason games. But unfortunately, I don't see this being a signing that's really going to impact the squad as such, and
Yeah.
that's where the issue lies.
I don't know. Well, the man in question is Carlos Borges.
Yeah,
Is that you?
bullshit. Yeah, I've no idea either. I've been trying to figure it out. I've been trying to watch tapes, but unfortunately, I'm no closer to finding out exactly how his surname is pronounced.
Right. Well, we're going to get into his stats, and I might as well get the man of the moment in. Mitchell, how are you, mate?
Sunning.
Ah.
I'm very good.
Talk to me
Is that
about Carlos.
Carlos Borges.
That's
First
the
of all,
geezer.
Clive, how you doing?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Is that the new kit I see? Is that the JD logo I
It
see on
is,
the
yeah.
side? Oh,
I don't like a JD badge at all, to be honest.
I don't because they get relegated.
Yes. Talk to me, Mitch, about
Oh yeah, true. That happened last season, didn't it?
And
Talk
and
to
the
you.
Carlos.
before.
Carlos. So X said. Well, someone said.
Well,
That
your mic is shit.
Borges.
I'm not gonna lie. Your mic is fucking like cutting in and out, like anything. Try it now. Speak to me.
Hello.
Yeah, cutting in and out again, mate. Batteries are running
Let me
low,
go
Mitch.
out and come back in.
Fucking
Yeah.
nightmare, man. I can't get the staff on E20's own TV. Clive, talk to me about fucking Carlos, man. Do you know what I mean?
All
Someone
right.
talk to me.
Okay, so in terms of an academy prospect, he is smashing it with goals. He's a left wing. He's 19 years old. He's quite short, a bit like me. He's only about 4 centimeters taller than me. So
Rapid.
quite a pacey player. If you're small, you got to have pace. That is one thing
Yeah.
that I lack, which is why I'm on here and not on a professional football pitch.
Yeah.
So he is quite good in terms of his stats from last season. He had a player of the season sort of styled season, I'd say. He almost
Yeah.
scored in as many games as he played. In terms of the under 18s Premier League, he scored about 22, 23 goals in 28 appearances, if I'm not mistaken. The UEFA Youth League, he scored 5 and 7. He's and Premier League too. He's got 22 and 35. So he's got quite good stats. However, he has not played a single professional game. Pep has not taken any chances on him. He has not played a single or made a single appearance.
Yeah.
And obviously, the closest he's had is the Portuguese under 19s,
Yeah.
where the under 19s became runners up of the Euros in Malta, losing to Italy in the final.
How do I sort of look at this signing before I get Mitch in? I think it's the right way of doing things. They're going younger, yeah. They're going for players like. Let's be honest, we was all disappointed. Like, if you weren't disappointed with not getting Harvey Barnes, then I don't know what you're seeing. When we didn't get Harvey Barnes, I was a bit gutted. I was thinking, well, he's a good player and he's just gone, right? He's gone from us. But to go and get this kid at 19, 14 million pounds, the only thing I will say is the buyback clause. That's the one thing I can't get my head round yet. What happens? What do we have to offer him a new contract in the future to sort of none avoid that? Or how does that work? That's the only thing I
Yeah,
will say.
I never understood the buyback clause thing and how it works.
James is gone.
I'm
James has had
here.
enough with the buyback clause. He's like, nah, fuck this, I'm out.
I'm
Buyback
here.
clause, fuck that.
Talk to me. What are you saying for the buyback clause, Mitch?
Yeah, I actually don't really know how that works. I mean, is it as it says it is? Is it just like at 40? If he's like his buyback clause is 40 million, if he has a blind season for us, and
Yeah.
then City go fuck it, we want you back. They pay 40
So
million. He's back there. Is that how it works?
yeah,
Because
see,
if it's as simple as that,
this is the
then
thing. This is the thing for me. So it effectively makes us a selling club at this point because, from my understanding, what City have done in the last few seasons where they've sold players for around 14 million. I mean, the average player that they've been selling that they're willing to let go of has been around 10 to 20 million, I would say. And most of the buyback clauses, they're not paying much more to get them back. It sort of stops them from doing a Chelsea, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what Chelsea did where they had to buy back Romelu Lukaku. And I think that's just hedging their bets that say, you know, there's probably 1 in 10 prospects that they will end up buying back, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Whether they end up buying him back is another thing. Obviously, we want him to be a good enough player to be bought back. But at the same time, if he isn't bought back, then he's going to be just a bang average player and potentially another one of those players that we've signed at a very young age that ends up going in a couple of seasons' time. So I'm not too overly excited by this signing, if I'm overly honest, because the thing is, we're going to buy him for 14 million. I bet you the buyback clause is about 20 million at best. Yeah. All right. 6 million profit.
No, it'll be much more than that.
It won't be much more.
It'll be more than 20, 100%.
Well, it's
I doubt
be,
it.
This is,
if it was 30 or 40, fair, but I doubt it.
I think it's going to be like a 30, probably 30 million. But the question is, how does that sort of work moving forward in the future? I've got to get to this comment from Joe, yeah? What a player you have got on your hands. Can't wait to see him in the Premier League. See, Man City fans, and I see a few things on Twitter earlier on, and they are really buzzing to see this geezer play for us. You know what I mean? And that's like first. Like another club wants a player of theirs to go and play for another team. So I've seen a bit of this kid, not much, but this kid's rapid, man. Absolute rapid. Like he's the sort of player we need.
Fast as fuck.
He is fast, mate. I've never seen someone so like I've seen quick players in the past, but fuck me, this geezer's like rapid, mate. You know what I mean? What are you saying, Clive?
The only thing for me is right. If you actually look, because he's a left winger, right? So
yeah,
ultimately, I'm going to get some haters for what I'm about to say here. I'm sure he has some good qualities before I get hated on here, but it can't be that good considering people that have come from the academy of Manchester City that are left wing is Phil Foden. The other left winger that's playing in that position at the moment is Jack Grealish. So in my eyes, with the amount of games that Manchester City have, I'm surprised that Pep Guardiola last season did not play that Carlos Borges at all, even in an EFL Cup game or something along those lines.
What about Lavia this season? What about what do you say Romeo Lavia then to Southampton?
Because you could say that, like I said, there's 1 in 10 players though. So all right.
But he's got a point though, Mitch. He has got a point. Yeah, if there's look how many games.
Delap. I get that, but sometimes these players just slip through, and maybe they're not in the plans for whatever reasons. Maybe the style of play, maybe it's too direct for City, and they want someone who's better in build up.
I'm going to say this quickly. Mitch, your audio is fucking terrible, bruv. I'm just going to let you know that.
Is it bad? Is it bad?
It is bad. I'm not going to lie.
What the fuck is going on? I don't fucking know why.
Mate, I'll have to invest in some new headphones for you, bruv.
100%.
If I didn't know better, if I didn't know better, you were in a submarine just before it imploded a few weeks back.
Well, I mean, so...
I was spraying water on my face last night with my headphones on. I think I might have fucked my headphones up.
Yeah, well,
I've got one of these new squirty bottle things where you spray them on your face, and I've been doing that last night. I was like that.
So anyone who wants to know any more about it, Mitch will send you the link. Mitch, I think you're best off ditching the headphones, mate, because no one can fucking hear you, bruv. 100%. Right.
Let me try and all right. Let me drop out. I'll come back in.
Fucking hell, he's in and out more times with that fucking window, mate. 100%.
Let me also say one other thing about Man City's like sort of prospects. Like I say, 1 in 10 will always make it, roughly.
Yeah.
It's Man City are hedging their bets. That's why they've got the buyback clause. I wouldn't even be surprised if there was a sell-on fee if we were to sell him on in the future. But I've got 2 issues in the sense of Liam Delap was given a chance.
Yeah.
He played a couple of games for Manchester City, even in the Premier League. But look at him; he's only in the Championship now. Albeit on loan, but I wouldn't say he's exactly hedged his bets and
you are right.
His way into the plans.
One thing I will say, you are right on one thing. I am surprised he hasn't played 1 game, one for City.
That's what I mean.
In any competition, I mean like League Cup, FA Cup, like anything of any note. Do
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like,
and that's the thing. Like they've had some games where they've been so comfortably over in the sense of aggregate or in the sense of the teams they faced, and
yeah.
just nothing.
Mm, mm. The only thing I will say with him is that he has scored a lot of goals. Like, look at his stats there from last season, the under 21s, and that's only the under 21s, but he's still got to go with the stats 27 games, 25 goals, and 11 assists. What I do like about this kid is if West Ham are looking for the future, he's the sort of player that West Ham need. Pace on the left hand side. Now, is he a starter for West Ham right now?
No.
Now, that's going to be interesting to see because I reckon a lot of people are going to turn around if we do sign this geezer and he does go through and Fabriziano actually does get something right for once, then I think people are going to be crying for this geezer to start. Now, I don't think he's a starter, but I definitely think he's an impact sub right now. Like someone to come off the bench in the last 20, like balls over the top. Like he could be deadly in that position. Really, really good. I don't know about you. What do you think on that, Clive?
So my issue is we always seem to sign one or two very young players every season. I would ultimately say at this point. If you look at last season, we bought Luzial, but that Brazilian, that Brazilian player from Sao Paulo. I mean, he's 21 now, so he's slightly older. But again, how many games did he play? Obviously, this season in the preseason he has played, and he has looked all right, I must say. But 9 times out of 10, what we end up doing is we buy a young player, we make a big deal out of it, and then ultimately what ends up happening 3 or 4 seasons down the line, we end up selling them. And that's my worry is it going to be a case of we've signed this person, he's going to be in the academy probably for this season, or because I don't, unless we play him in Europa League, I don't see where he's going to play.
I don't think he's coming. I personally don't think West Ham are paying 14 million to put him in the under 23s. I really don't. I just don't. I think he's coming in to be second choice to Ben Rama on the left hands. Yeah.
So then, would you not argue that he's just a last minute coup because of our failure in getting Harvey Barnes, and it's just a rush deal? Because ultimately, the Harvey Barnes thing's only been agreed in the last 24, 48 hours, and we were looking like strong contenders. And now in 24, 48 hours, it's like as if we were never going for that, and we've just gone, here's 14 million. Like, is it a rush? Is it a rush, or is it we've been biding our time? There's been a lot of rumours, and perhaps our director of football's gone, hold on a minute, let's not sign him. Let's sign Carlos Borges instead. The thing is, we don't really know what happens because obviously we see loads of Twitter rumours. We don't actually know how strong the truth was about getting Harvey Barnes. It could have been very weak that we were just interested, but now we've got obviously all these people that have come in, like the director of football and everything, and they've started in their roles. Perhaps now this is like the first sort of time that we're going, okay, hold on a minute. Now we're trying to sign people that fit into this director's point of view.
I agree, mate. Mitch, talk to me.
1, 2, 3.
Yes, finally.
6, 7, 8. Good.
Yes,
there we go.
It's only took him 13.5 minutes to get it sorted out, but we move on this channel. We move. You know what I mean? As professional as ever. You know what I mean? Right, Mitch. £14 million for a youth player, 19. Where does he fit at West Ham in regards to the first team?
I just think, honestly, Moise has looked at the squad and gone, we need pace. And who better than to get the Carlos Borges, the rapid Portuguese maestro. I think Barnes was quick. He's very direct. He wanted to get in. The kind of interest in targets that I've seen from left back and left wingers that I've seen us linked with have all been very quick and direct. So I think it's the kind of style that Moise wants. I think because Ben Rum is he's much more of a build-up player. He's better in transition than taking it, making things happen in the final third. And yeah, it's just, I think he's seen that Ben Rama's quite slow for a winger as well, and you can't get much quicker than this boy. So I think it's the pace aspect is a massive aspect to it. I mean, the boy is absolutely rapid. He's very, very fast.
Yeah.
I think he reminds me a bit of Sadio Mane, like a young Sadio Mane, in terms of that. He's a good finisher. He's good with both feet. He's not necessarily like a really technical dribbler like Ben Rama more so. He's more like just knocks it past the player with speed, and just smashes it across goal or into the net. Well, I like the boy. I do like him, and I think 40 million you can't really go wrong. I think it's a decent. I know Clive said he wasn't the best signing earlier. I think he's a decent signing. He could turn out to be really good. I'm excited by him. I'm quite excited. We haven't signed him yet officially. Apparently, we're in advanced talks.
He looks pretty solid though. From what if it's coming from him, it looks pretty solid, doesn't it? Let's be real. The only thing I
Apparently, we're
can't
just
work.
finalising the last few details according to.
The only thing I can't work out with it, the only thing I'm sort of struggling with, is where does he fit? I.e., is he a starter? Is he second choice?
Well, if he can start well, I'd start him over Ben Rama. If he can really hit the ground running at West Ham, I think Ben Rama needs replacing.
Where does this leave Maxwell Cornu? No, I just want to say that. Go on, Clive.
Yeah, true. Maybe Moise has seen Cornu in pre-season and said maybe this injury has really got to him.
Yeah,
we can't rely on Cornu.
A lot of people have said about well, it was just a knee injury with Cornu, but to be honest, when you hear rumours of it's only in 25 years has this knee injury happened twice by this one specialist doctor. I'm sorry, but when there's injuries like that, some injuries you just don't come back from. I stand by we put Cornu on loan so we can regain that sort of feeling and confidence on the pitch. Because in terms of wingers, if we're now obviously we've almost signed one winger here. If we sign perhaps one more, even if it's just on loan, and we send Cornu out on loan, I don't think Cornu will be missed as such.
I think he's a good back. Cornu's a backup for the right winger position.
Which is an option. But the thing is, I don't know if I'd rather have Cornu go out on loan just to regain confidence. When you've had such an injury and you've been out for X amount of months, it does take a knock on the player. And him not playing is not going to help in my eyes, I guess. But
would you sell Cornu?
Completely different. No, I wouldn't. Not for a year. I put him on loan and hope that his value goes up, if anything.
So if someone come in for him right now and said, we'll give you 12 million for Cornu, would you take it?
Definitely not.
No.
Oh,
yeah, I wouldn't.
I actually would, mate. I just don't see where he. He's going to have to come back and be 100 times better than he was.
The only reason I said I wouldn't is the fact that the chances are we'd have to spend more to buy a player to fill that position than what you're selling him for. Yeah. If someone came in for 20 million, that's a different scenario. In my eyes, that's about a £4 million or £5 million profit. On top of that, for 20 million, you could easily get another player in. For 12 million, not so much. Not of the caliber that Cornu has proven himself at in the past.
Great shout from Georgia, yeah. BORGES counts as homegrown, which is another major reason we're in for.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's been at City since 2015, and before that he was at Sporting. So yeah, he's been in the Premier League. Sorry, he's been in England for 8 years now. So it's quite a while. So he is homegrown indeed.
Burnley robbed us. Yeah, they did, mate. I must admit.
I think Cornu gets so much disrespect, and it really actually winds me up.
This is what I mean.
It was a shit sign, shit player. Like he fucking wasn't. He was a great signing at the time.
He got injured straight away. You got to bear in mind what he did with that Burnley squad before they went down. He scored 9 goals in just under 30 appearances. He had a good season. It's an injury. You can't base a player off of a handful of appearances after being out for 6 to 9 months. I'm sorry, you just can't.
I've got to get to this comment from Kent, because I see Kent in the chat and I respect what Kent's saying. Please give the boy a chance. Judge him on his own merit at West Ham. He's quality. I've watched him a lot playing as a counter-attack team. He's perfect. 14 million is more money than we've ever spent on kids. It is. I must admit, it's the most that I can remember that we've spent on a youngster. I don't remember spending a lot of money for a 19-year-old.
The
Like,
only thing is, we do have a tendency. Like, do you think in the first 6 months, Moyes would actually be willingly playing him often enough? Because what we've seen with, for instance, Jared Bowen in the first 6 months wasn't supposed to play that much when we signed him in that January, and it's the same with. Oh God, last season who did we sign? What's he called? The one you like, Flynn Downs.
yeah,
Flynn Downs didn't play much, but we
yeah,
paid around the same amount of money, right? We spent
yeah.
about 12 to 16 million for Flynn Downs. Moyes is very cautious when signing players. He might have a long-term vision for him, but is Moyes going to be there long-term? That's the bigger question here.
I've got a question for you. Who's signing is this? Is it
Director of football.
Is it the director of football, or is it Moyes has looked at him and
Director of
thought,
football.
I don't know. I think the fact we were linked with him for months before,
it was, yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's. You know what? I actually think it's a Moyes one.
You reckon?
I do actually. Yeah.
Why is that, Mitch? What makes you say that?
I think because before starting come, he was looking at direct players anyway for signing, and Barnes was the number one.
Yeah.
And Borges is a very direct player as well, so you've got that similarity. And the fact that we were linked with him, I know in April, May, before starting come, so maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe Borges has been on Moyes' radar, and then Starton's looked at him and gone, you know what, I like the look of him. Let's make a move for him.
The good news is we've apparently beaten Nottingham Forest to him as well, which is another thing. Because Nottingham Forest were looking at him as well, from my understanding.
The fucking mighty Nottingham Forest, mate. Fuck.
Well, no, you say that, but with how much they spent last season, and you could argue, obviously, they took Lingard under us, albeit Lingard gave us a fucking runaround chase for about 3 years.
Yeah.
But you have to bear in mind the amount of money that Nottingham Forest spent last season, not only on transfer fees, but also wages. I mean, they brought in the likes of Dean Henderson. They paid the majority of his wages. That's almost 100k for a goalkeeper. So, I think respect where it's due to an extent. I don't think Nottingham Forest is the same caliber as us, don't get me wrong. But I think beating people that are around that or looking for those mid-table slots is very important if we're looking to go on the up.
I hear you, mate. I do.
X's update is positive.
Yeah, I was just going to say that to you before we get to X's update, because then we'll wrap this up. I want you to give me a rating, you two, out of 10 for this signing. If it goes through, give me a rating out of 10 of what you think for this. And everyone in the chat and all.
All right. 14 million, I'll give it a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Well, what are you saying, Clive?
I think on the following 3 bases, which is, do I see him playing much? Do I see how he improves the squad on the upcoming season where we've got European football? No, not really. I think ultimately, I do think we do need younger players, but I just think we need someone with a little bit more experience at the same time. And looking at signings of academy sort of players that we've made in the last 3 years, I'm going to read them out real quick. Remy Coddington, still at West Ham United, just in the
This is very different, though. They're players that have come from backgrounds where they've been like, this player is supposed to be good. This player has done really good stuff for Man City.
West Ham United signed Osama Ashley, since gone on to Colchester and Salford. Frederick Alves, we bought him from Silkeborg. He's now at Brøndby. Goncalo Cardoza, he's at Martimo. He's gone. Luciao, okay, maybe he's got a chance. And Armstrong Otko Flex, who was on loan last season at Swansea, but he's still at the team. So I don't like our academy sort of. Our last few seasons haven't looked great. We sell. I
think this one's different, though. I do think this one's different, and I'm very similar with you, Clive. I don't jump the gun, and I actually get annoyed when people jump the gun on academy players.
Yeah.
No. I don't think. My point is not necessarily, it's an academy player, I'm worried. It's our utilisation of academy players is my concern. Unless things change, I'm not too convinced. I also want to know more about the buyback clause, how much that is. until I know all those things, I only see it as a 6 out of 10 because we could be bitten in the arse if it's only like 20, 25 million for a buyback clause and he's gone in 2 seasons.
I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's a good positive signing for the fee. I think he's young. He's only going to get better. And if he performs how he's performed in the under 21s, then we've got a really, really good player on our hands. The only problem I have is the buyback clause. If the buyback clause is 25 million, then for how well this geezer is going to do, technically, he's not really our player, is he? Right? Do you understand? He'd be playing for West Ham, but there will come a time if he turns into an absolute gem of a player, then what we're going to get is peanuts for him. Like if City come calling again. It'd be interesting to see where he fits this season. If you've signed this man for 14 million, I don't think you've signed him to loan him, and I don't think you've signed him for the reserve. I think you've signed him to be sort of second choice, or if not third choice. Someone who's on the bench who could come on and do something. I don't think he's going to come to West Ham to like be that sort of reserve player. I think he's coming here to sort of be a first teamer. I really do. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10 for me. I'm happy. I'm happy that we're working, and I'm happy with the data analysis that sort of Tim's going with, because obviously this signing is data driven. He must have been eyeing this geezer up for a long time. But yeah, I understand what Snazzy's saying there. It'd be 40 million minimum. If it is 40 million minimum, then you can accept that. 40, you've earned a nice profit. Anything less than that, I think, is poor, in my opinion. I really do. Let's talk about X's update. Who wants to discuss his update? Very interesting, must admit. Take it away, Jenna.
Sorry, James, your internet's really bad.
Yeah, yours has gone a bit. No, you're lagging out too.
I'm here. Explain to me X's update.
Go on, Mitch.
I can't really do player by player because that's part of the agreement. I could just say that it looks like we're moving on left backs, which is good. And that we're advancing on the midfield targets, which is good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the positives. I can't really say anything else because then it would be naughty of me. So I'm just going to be nice and just say those are the 2 good positives.
Yeah.
And I might as well, you could say this, that the Carlos BORGES still is advancing, and it is true. So yeah, let's hope this deal does get done.
Yeah, I think we'll see a couple of transfers over the next coming days. It's just whether Creswell ends up leaving is another thing. Well, it takes a couple of days or so. We'll get one through the line in the next 24, 48 hours. Then I reckon we'll get another through the line early next week.
What about on the left back front? Obviously, I haven't had yous on. Obviously, Creswell looks like he's leaving. How do you feel about it, Mitch?
Sorry, would you say? Creswell?
Creswell leaving, yes.
Very happy. I know Clive may disagree with me, but no, I can't. I'm really looking forward to seeing the back of him. To be honest, I think last season wasn't too bad, but the few seasons before that, I think he got away with murder, and our fans just kind of pulled the wool over our eyes. But I think it's the right time for him to go. He's got 1 year left in his contract. There's no point of signing another deal with us because it's different if you're a centre back because you can see out games as a centre back, and you could like Bonner, for example. The reason why Bonner signed a new deal is because he's a type of defender you can bring on right at the end of the game and see a game out. Creswell, it's different with a left back because left backs still need to get forward. You need to have those legs, which is why obviously full backs don't really last long and they don't go into their mid to late 30s. So I think we're seeing Creswell at the right time. If we can get 5 million for him, I'll be very happy. And I think I'd like more of an all-rounded left back to come in. Because we've got Emerson, who's a very attacking-minded left back. So if we could get a good, solid, all-round left back that is good at defending and going forward, then I'd be very happy.
What about you, Clive?
Mitch will be surprised. I agree and disagree at the same time here. So I think the positive aspects are obviously we gave him 1 year increase on the contract, which I could understand because all we've got is Emerson otherwise. So we need the cover. My issue with Creswell is that he's lost a lot of pace. And I think for the counter attack, we clearly need the pace, which is where he's lacking. And that's shown in the last couple of years. And it's starting to show in terms of his on pitch performance. I think in that sense, if we've signed him on for an extra year, we managed to get a replacement and we sell him for about 5 mil. I think that's actually quite good business, not just on the basis of getting 5 mil, but I also think actually his wage, considering he's been at the club for 9 years, he's got one of the higher wage bills from being in the sort of mainstay of the team. I mean, he's around 55, 60K a week. So, that takes some wages off of the wage bill. I think we're also looking at this as a financial fair play sort of situation that, if we sell him, we make a little bit of money, we bring someone in and someone for perhaps half the amount of wages. That's quite good business at the end of the day, because whoever's coming in will probably play second fiddle to Emerson. So I think that's the main thing. My only concern otherwise is surrounding the captaincy. We're losing. We've obviously already lost Rice. The previous season, we lost Noble. We've only got a couple of sort of squad members that have been there for multiple years. And I think out of all of them, Creswell would have probably played the most out of the remaining lot, out of him, Ogbonna, etc. I see him playing a lot more for West Ham, and therefore his captaincy being a little bit more valuable on the pitch. So in terms of leadership, I'm a little bit concerned, because if we're getting rid of all of our leaders in one go, we need people to step up in the team. And based off of last season, not enough people are stepping up.
I actually agree, mate. I actually do agree. The only thing with Creswell is the leadership side of things. As a player, I don't think you can cut it anymore. I've always said that. And I've agreed with Mitch for a long time on the left-hand side about Emerson. Now, I see what George is saying in the chat. I pulled it up again. If we're selling Creswell, we need to splash on a good left-back. Emerson's nowhere near good enough to be the first choice on a regular basis.
We don't splash on left or right backs. If you actually look in the last 20 years, our most expensive left and right backs, spoiler alert, Emerson is our most expensive left back.
Yeah.
So we're not splashing out on left and right backs. I'll tell you that for free.
See, the thing
Peters is still there, available. That's so annoying.
See, the thing is, right? I just want to say this quickly, yeah. But the thing is, though, is whoever comes in, are they coming in to claim that first that left back spot in the back four?
I think next season, I actually think we're playing Emerson left back. And I reckon Max Aarons is going to be our right back.
Nice. Can't beat a bit of pace. What are you saying on regards of that, though, Mitch? In regards of sort of people saying about Emerson, left back, not for them. Harsh or true?
I think to say nowhere near good enough, I think it's a bit unfair.
Yeah.
He said one season, the games he's played in overall, he's been good. He finished the season strongly. The last game he played, which was the biggest game this season, he was our best player. So he deserves time. And it could be our starting left back next season. It might not be, but he's getting better. He started in pre-season games. He's been great in every single one of them as well. So there's I think to say nowhere near good enough, I think it's very harsh.
I agree. He's a typical West Ham player. He was inconsistent last season. I mean, if we're saying Emerson's not good enough, you might as well say Aguerd and everyone else wasn't good enough, because everyone made mistakes in individual games last season. Everyone was not good enough last season. We underperformed. We didn't do good enough, and that's simple as. So I don't think we can base it just off of one season. I mean, Emerson's going to be there for another 4 years at least on his contract, I think. So, I've got to give Emerson a chance. He's played well in the preseason. He started out in the preseason, and I think that makes it very obvious that Creswell is more likely to be a sort of secondary option.
One thing I'm going to say is what Kyrax has said here, yeah, about the left back at Rennes. He keeps getting mentioned quite a lot. I looked at a video of him yesterday, and he looks pretty decent. I must admit, I'm not sure how old he is. I think he's 21 or 22.
We are interested in him as well.
Yes.
But, so before we wrap this up, so what system are we playing then, in your eyes? Because if we're playing wing backs, then Emerson's the right man. If they're playing back four, which I want to see,
Do you know what?
I don't think he is.
I don't actually think we're going to know what our system is until we know the striker situation, if I'm brutally honest with you. Because
Right.
I think from what I've seen in the game so far, in terms of the preseason, obviously we know Danny Ings can't play on his ones, so he needs someone there. And to be fair, Skamaka's looked good when he's been sharing the pitch with Mubamba. So I think depending on what happens with this Antonio situation, and depending if we're trying to bring in any strikers, I think that depends on how we end up playing this season. Because realistically, if Antonio goes, that's your probably one option of player that can actually play the lone striker.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually agree. I absolutely agree. Gentlemen, before we go, Mitch, everyone's saying about your top. How much does that cost you, Mitch?
£75.
He's bad. It's £75. I'm not a massive fan of the kit. I think seeing it in person, I'm not the biggest fan. He's very average.
He's wearing it and can't return it.
But I guess I get a kit every season. So last year it was the away kit. I don't get the name on the back because I just think it's a bit. I'm not 16 anymore, so.
You're 17 now. It's fine. Anything else you guys? Anything else you guys want to dis? Yeah, I must admit, Alfie's over the moon wherever he is. I think he's gone away on holiday. I think. Anything else you want to discuss in regards to West Ham before we wrap this up? Anything?
No, I think other stuff will be covered. I'm doing a show. I'm doing a little short for Lucas at the moment. So.
Oh, that's news. Do you know what I mean? Oh, let's talk about. I just want to say this quickly. And if this gets back to Central, keep stealing my thumbnails. I would appreciate if you don't steal my fucking thumbnails, bruv. Do you know what I mean? I will have them logoed up and. Just a little shout out to you, Central, not for stealing my fucking thumbnails, bruv. You know what I mean? Tom works hard on them.
You can't.
That's Mitch's words, not mine. But we move. Listen, we'll wrap it up there, then, gentlemen. Right. Final thought for Carlos is that it's a good signing. I think it's a good signing. I think it's a future signing, but we need a lot more. Like we do need a lot more. Let's hope we get this done, signed, sealed, delivered, and finished. Yeah. But I think it will do. I'm pretty sure.
Midfield. Let's get the midfield fucking targets in there.
Yeah, and let's get them in quick and lively. Right, before I go, I've got 91 people in the chat. Please do smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Also, tonight, 8 o'clock, me, Lucas, Tom, we will be doing a 1 year sort of anniversary of Peach's passing. So yeah, check us out over there tonight. It won't be a long stream; it'll be about 20 minutes, half hour. But we'll be talking a bit of West Ham, talking about Peach, and Peach is not here no more. And it's still a shame to this day. Do you know what I'm saying? That the man didn't get to witness the final. Do you know what I'm saying? But we will be talking about him tonight. Anyway, from all of us over here, we will see you in the next one. Peace.